Hello you guys, Daniel here, and we're back with another Game of Thrones breakdown, recap, review, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I go completely deep dive with my breakdowns just because of how much time I have and how much time I need to edit to get this up in time because I'm recording this on a Saturday, the day before the next episode is airing. Uh, Basically because this week has been extremely stressful and a lot's been going on. I had to make some big decisions, and I just thought, you know what, we need to take videos completely out of my mind. Um, and by doing so, at least for the Game of Thrones side of things, I was able to ruminate with the episode. I was able to watch it over and over again, see what was, what did I really think about the episode. I think I preferred the last episode. Uh, but this episode was still fantastic. There was so much going on. Let's start with something that I didn't point out for the premiere. The title sequence of the show. Usually, in some seasons you'll see some slight differences in the title sequence, and in this season we have a change with the wall. Whenever you see that, it comes out and you see the wall, you see water or surrounding around the wall, and in this premiere and for this season, we don't see that. Instead, we see ice because obviously winter is here and winter is taking over that landscape. It is frozen over the water. What does that mean? It has caused people to rampantly speculate of what could happen with that. We obviously know the White Walkers are coming. The army of the dead are coming. And at one point we know they're going to get to the wall, and what we thought was, they're going to use some magic, they're going to take it down, and we know from what they've said in previous seasons that there is magic within the wall. At some point, maybe the children did it, who knows, there's a lot of speculation with that. But there's magic within the wall to keep the White Walkers out. There's a lot going on speculation wise on how they're going to get through. Obviously, Bran has been marked, so he's going through the wall, which gives them sort of access, possibly, to getting through, just because obviously he's been marked in the last season. The big speculation around this that has caused a lot of noise within the Game of Thrones community is, what if they just walk around it? The water's frozen over. What if they just walked around the wall? And that would be it would be a smart move, but it would also be very disappointing seeing where we've come. But also, I feel like if I saw it happen and saw them just walk around it, you're like, oh no, stuff's about to go down fast. And then I saw someone else say that maybe there was magic lined the whole way down, so there's like a barrier, like an invisible barrier that superseded the wall itself. I don't know if I buy into that, but whatever they do, I'm on board because the show has done a fantastic job so far of developing storylines. Most storylines, I mean, I'll talk about one that has been pretty terrible in a lot of ways. Not terrible, that's probably the wrong word. Lackluster. But we'll talk about that at some point. But anyway, we begin the episode where Dany is confronting Varys about where he swears his allegiance. Talking about his past commitments and how he has been on one side and then swooped to the other just because, one side was winning, one side was, in his eyes, better. He just decided to basically disown one side. He had served Daenerys' father and then went over to Robert Baratheon and kind of helped in conspiring in attempting to kill Dany, with the orders obviously from Robert Baratheon. And I love that back and forth of Varys really truthfully saying what he means, what his intentions in this whole matter is, and he is speaking for the people. He is thinking, he's looking out for the people, not the monarchy, the people. But while this is all happening, Dany basically has his life in the palm of her hand. And while that's happening, you have Tyrion trying to back him up, saying about how it was him who let Tyrion know who Daenerys was. But Daenerys held her ground, and that's something I love about this character. How she balances the caring for the people, but also the sternness of, if you cross me, I will burn you alive. And how she's able to make that seem normal, legitimate, is fantastic. And that's a testament to the writing, but also her acting. Very much so her acting. Without Emilia Clarke in that role, it wouldn't be the same. Then you have Melisandre, and she's back. She fled, obviously, after they said to go, leave us. And she fled, and now she's in Dragonstone, because she believes that Daenerys has a part to play in the war to come. And in the words of Melisandre, as does another, the King of the North, Jon Snow. I flipped whenever I heard that. That made me go insane inside whenever I heard, that connection, because I've been waiting, and I've been waiting till those two characters at some point or another would meet. And since we got some stuff on Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen's connection, it made me so excited to see what's going to happen there. This is, the next episode is going to be airing tomorrow night. That's sort of, tomorrow night, this video will probably go out tomorrow, so tonight they're going to confront each other and stuff's going to go down. They're going to, will he bend a knee? I don't know. Will she make him bend a knee? Will she see his character and, that he means very well? That he came back from the dead, that he has good intentions, that, he'll tell her about the White Walkers, that the Army of Dead are coming and we need to bond together to take down this threat. And it was cool seeing Tyrion have a little bit of a connection there and how he trusts Jon Snow. So they send a raven to Jon Snow, and that transfers back over to the north, where he reads it and he's like, it's from Tyrion Lannister. Can we trust it? It had a quote that he had said to him in the past, which legitimized the letter. And then obviously there was the meeting, and everyone was against him leaving because the King of the North needs to stay in the North, especially with the battles to come. And I understood that. I was like, even though I want him to go to Dragonstone to talk with Daenerys about the upcoming wars that are ahead, but also getting that dragon glass, getting that Valyrian steel to battle, both sides of the war, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot at stake for both sides. But seeing Jon Snow take a firm stance on this, it definitely, elevated the character in terms of his courage. I mean, he definitely, he wants to be in favor of the people, but he needs to follow his own moral path, and he feels this is the right thing to do. And then, obviously, then that moment of, who's going to take control, and then he hands it off to Sansa. That was awesome. I love that. Sansa's been taking notes from a lot of different rulers, and I think for how long she is in that seat, she's gonna do a good job. I have a feeling, at least. Then we have Cersei addressing the people, and the odds were against her. They were shooting down everything she was saying about how Daenerys has dragons. They have Unsullied. They have the Dothraki. And the Tarlys wouldn't conspire against the Tyrells because there was some history. But things shifted pretty quickly when Jaime started talking to the Tarlys, possibly swaying their decision, which would make a pretty big advantage considering what happens at the end of this episode. And on top of that, you have Qyburn, and he may have a solution for the dragons. You have Cersei and Qyburn going into this dungeon sort of thing, and it has a lot of history there. You have Robert Baratheon's sort of trophies, I guess. He's got loads of dragon skulls lying around the place. And then he leads her to this machine. And from what I've heard, it's called a scorpion. And it reminds me of the machine that Luke Evans' character used in Desolation of Smaug to take out Smaug. They tried it out on Balerion, the dragon Aegon rode, putting, from what Qyburn said, quoting him, the Seven Kingdoms to heal. They've shot that spear and it made a pretty deep impact on that skull. And for me, whenever I see that, it's like, whoa. There's a good chance that we're going to see Daenerys' dragons, maybe one, getting taken out. And a part of me thinks that we're going to see one of those dragons getting resurrected for the White Walkers' army. We'll see what happens. Then, of course, we have Missandei and Grey Worm finally hooking up. We've seen them grow over the years, getting closer and closer. And finally, we have an affectionate scene that was well worth having. From a storytelling perspective, I loved how Grey Worm said about how he was not fearful like the other Unsullied, but whenever he met Missandei, she was his weakness. The scene sort of reminded me of Jon and Ygritte in the cave, just because of how intimate it was and how, there's a lot of sex in Game of Thrones, and it's great. It's great. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's great seeing, characters, realistic scenarios in a world like this. But it can be a lot. But scenes like with Jon and Ygritte, and scenes like with Missandei and Grey Worm, develop both the story and the characters. Then you have Sam, and he's currently at the Citadel. He's having to do a lot of terrible jobs, as we saw in the last episode. But in this, he's broke the rules. He's done something he wasn't meant to do. And he's helping out Mr. Mormont himself, Jorah, get rid of that grayscale. I mean, the chances are very slim, and he has only read a little bit, but Sam's being a good person. He's never done this procedure before, but he's going through with it, and he just rushes in there. He's like biting this, and they start going at it, and it's disgusting. It's just, you see pus and, skin going away, the grayscale going back, and it truly is disgusting. And then as that's happening, you have these disgusting visuals. It transitions to a pot pie and someone like breaking into one. And I don't think I'll ever be able to eat a pot pie after seeing that. That is disgusting. And honestly, that was a great transition anyway to having Arya reunite with Hot Pie. And Hot Pie plays a pretty significant part to the season so far, just because of what he tells to Arya, because Arya's been kind of in the dark with a lot of things. I mean, she thought that the Boltons were still sort of in reign, but Hot Pie told her that the Battle of the Bastards happened and Jon Snow came out victorious, and that he is now the King of the North. And whenever whenever you see her face and the change in music, and her basically going, "You're kidding, this isn't real." And he's like, "He's your brother, why would I tell you a lie?" I can't explain how happy I was inside, because it just went, yes, she's gonna change her mind. She's not gonna go to King's Landing and probably get herself killed. Instead, she says bye. She gets out of there as fast as she can. She gets on her horse and turns the other direction, not towards King's Landing, but towards Jon. Which may or may not work, because now he's sort of going off the Dragonstone, but at least she'll be able to be reunited with Sansa. Hopefully nothing happens on the way, knowing Game of Thrones. And also something that Hot Pie did that was great for the episode was, since Arya went in that other direction, she encountered Nymeria, her direwolf, and that was such a fantastic, bittersweet reuniting of two characters. Obviously, you had Arya throw the stone at Nymeria way back in first season and telling her to leave, and Nymeria had to go, and that was heartbreaking. But now they're back, and you see this pack of wolves surrounding them, and then Nymeria approaches, and Arya's trying to convince her to come with her, to come back to her family, but she declines. Nymeria declines, and Arya just replies with, "That's not you." And that line's a callback to the first season, where you had Ned Stark talking about how she's going to grow up, she's going to get married, she's going to have kids, and Arya was like, "That's not me." Because she's not domesticated. She wants to go on her own path. That's not her sort of lifestyle. And in that moment, Arya realized that Nymeria is not a domesticated wolf. That she needs to do her own thing. She's got these wolves to look out for. She's got this life to live, and she can't really be expected to go back into this domesticated life. I loved how they got each other in that way. It was beautiful in a way. Then of course you had the battle at the end. How can I not talk about this? That was insane, because like, the battle was fantastic. As a second episode and you have this sort of battle, it was like, whoa, this is great. But so much hit the fan in such little time. I think that fight was like 10 minutes maybe, and it was madness. You have some woman-on-woman fondling, and then suddenly an explosion comes up and the boats come, and Aegon's back and he just takes out everything. It's action, it's mayhem, You have Yara in battle, and there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of fighting, and obviously you had the Sand Snakes who were also on board. And that leads me to a part I need to talk about. We see two of the members of the Sand Snakes being killed by Aegon, and in such a weird way, because I realise now they were both killed by their own weapons. And the reason why I have to bring this to attention was because out of all the storylines in Game of Thrones, this is probably the weakest. And there isn't weak storylines in this show, to be honest. I don't think there has been a weak storyline. I think I've been so fascinated by so many different parts with the Hound, which I didn't even talk about in the first episode, but there's so many different plots that are going everywhere, and it's all fascinating to me. But with Dorne, it was kind of lackluster. I just didn't really care for the Sand Snakes. Of course, there's parts of the characters that I've liked. I've liked the Prince aspect that we had in the last season. I liked Oberyn. And Illyria had her moments at times, but I just felt like there was so much more they could have been exploring, and this ending to 2 of the 4 was lackluster, and I didn't care too much. But that didn't put a damper on that scene. That was a really well acted scene. I mean, Aegon's starting to get, as a good character for me. I felt like he was introduced a little too sort of like out of the blue, like kills Yara's father, and boom, he's here. He's apparently a villain. Okay, but even in season 6, they had a pretty good lead up. They had some expositional stuff sort of explaining his past. He's seen a lot of stuff, but I still am not completely down with his character. I still need to see more of what he has in store. Is he just a mad, psychotic man? Or is there something deep down there? Because we've had Bolton, we've had Joffrey, we've had quite a few villains in this show, and I need to see where Aegon plans on going. But I am really fascinated by the character, and I'm interested to see where this character goes, or how long he lasts. And I think that insanity that I was talking about definitely proved itself in this episode. He looked like he was a barbarian. Like, he looked like he was going insane as he was taking out everyone on those ships. As I said, he took out 2 of the Sand Snakes, and then you have him going against Yara, and he wins that fight. He has her, he has the blade at her throat, and Theon, it's just him and Theon. And at that point for Theon, that's a mind game for him. He has been through so much in the past seasons. You're kind of surprised that he's even able to get through this. And you see his PTSD sort of hitting out as you see visuals from around him about showing the brutality of what is going around him. Not just what's happening with Yara, that's the main point of that got him, but all the stuff that's happening around him. You see him twitch, and you see those shades of Reek that were coming back. He was in fight or flight, and he had to make a decision, and I think part of what was going on in his head was, if he goes closer, maybe Aegon will kill his sister. So if he retreats, if he leaves, maybe he has a chance, and maybe she has a chance. So he just jumped, and he got off that boat. Who knows what's happening with Yara now? We're probably gonna see her with Cersei, probably. We'll see. And that will put him on Cersei's good books. Maybe. We'll have to see what happens. I don't know, but that's the end of the episode. That is my thoughts. A lot happened. This video is going to take forever to edit, but I don't care, because this episode was fantastic. I'm so excited to see what happens. I can't get enough. I'm so excited for the next episodes. I'm hoping to get this out as soon as I possibly can, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very excited for the upcoming episodes. It's going to be awesome. We're going to see some White Walkers hopefully really soon, and see what's happening there. We have a lot of questions we still need to get answered, and a lot of stepping stones till we have different wars happening. I'm very excited. I hope you are too, and I can't wait to talk about the next episode. with you that round, but whatever. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later. Winter is here.